Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel on human design. Now, human design is a wonderful tool for being able to see what the life force qualities are in every single person. And those life forces are separated within four distinct areas: the tribal areas, the experiential areas, the individual areas, and the logical areas. Now, please understand that many of you are going to have a mixture of the circuitries that I've just mentioned. The question is, what is the most useful circuitry? To some degree, every single circuitry has useful qualities to it. You know, it's very useful to hear from the experience of those that have gone through the experiential way, that have found out through their own expansion what works and what doesn't work, and to be able to tell you what it was like. It can be useful for the individual circuitry to come up with something completely new that nobody ever thought of before, or to do something in a more efficient way that was not seen by others. And of course, it's going to be useful to have the tribal support and strength and love that comes through that circuit. But in my view, the most useful is the logical circuit, because people that have logic in them really are here to be of service. We all carry an incarnation cross, or we're hung on an incarnation cross when we're born. And you know your cross. So those of you, for example, that have the cross of service, these four gates that make up the cross, they are all logical. So these people want to be of service, and they want to be of service in the way that they can be of service. The theme for this YouTube video came in response to a viewer asking me, Richard, could you say something about what do we do when we retire? Is there anything in human design that could be helpful in knowing what to do when we retire? What I would say is that logic is very useful in terms that it has transferable skills. It can bring people into understanding. It is something that is designed to be shared with everyone for the good of all, to be of service for everyone. This is where we get our democratic principles. This is where we get our smooth and clear line of understanding of what is and is not correct. It is unemotional. It is not colored by the emotional field that really is about connecting us all up at emotional level. It doesn't care about that. Logic is clear and concise. It has opinions that are based on the facts and provable, but you've got to run the experiment. So anyone with logic in them at some level wants to run the experiment to improve things, to make things better for all. And many people with logic in them have been very useful in their working lives in one way or another, or if they've been a mother or a father, they've been working with their children and now their children have left. However, I know a number of logical people with strong logical definition who have retired, and they find ways to be useful that also gives them pleasure and gives them that sense of doing a good job. When you think about the logical circuit, the channels moving towards the spleen and from the spleen, so the 5818 and the 4816, these make you feel good. It's a good feeling to help somebody. It's a good feeling to clear things up. I mean, for those of you with logic, if you're ever feeling like, you know, what do I do? Well, you can always clean. You can always clear up. You can always make things tidy. You know, there's pleasure in doing that for many of you. Not for all of you, but for many of you. So of the examples that I'm thinking of right now, one was an ex-maths teacher. She used to teach and enjoy teaching mathematics to children, and she was very good at it. She then went into business, and then she went into building a life in another country. And now she's back in England. What does she do? She is the owner of a game, a sort of logical game that's got lots and lots of different moving parts. And she's got this logical mind, the 1762, that can really keep a handle on all of them. Not only that, but they compete together in this game to win gold cups. And they have never been beaten. She manages extremely well. She gets a lot of pleasure out of winning the cups, of being the best in the world. And her club is renowned for that. So that's bringing her a lot of pleasure. It's also bringing a sense of connection with other people all around the world. I have other friends that one in particular wanted to become a magistrate. And it also has a logical mind, wants to serve the larger community, wants to make sure that justice is done in a fair way. When you're thinking about the logical circuit, you're thinking about people that love to solve problems. Now, logic, it has a critical awareness connected to it, and it's future projected. So it's looking into the future and can see the obstacles, can see the fact that, well, we've got to overcome that if we're going to get there. So how do we do it? It asks questions. It looks for answers. It can be very, very, very useful. We need logical people in our lives. We do, because they can ask the questions that we might not even have thought about in terms of where we're headed. The thing about logic, it has within it this ability to measure things, to measure in increments, to look at the statistics and see what they're saying, where they're heading, what is the general trend for the future based on the facts that we have in the present. It's very useful. And because it's unemotional, yes, there can be a certain coldness there, but we do need that critical eye. You know, in the way that societies are being developed, in the way that businesses are being developed, in the way that lives are being led, that critical element can be very, very useful. Another way of looking at one of those uses is in terms of health regimes and things that can improve the state of the body and improve the flow of the life. Logic is so useful in these kinds of things, and they have the fact, they have the details, they have the solution to a problem you might not even know exists, and yet it helps if you listen to them. So very useful. This is how I would term logic, and because of its critical awareness, that needs to be emphasized, which is really why I'm doing this video. Because those that have critical awareness, especially in the 17th gate and the 18th gate, can be very self-critical. You know, their heads can be full of, well, I should have, but I didn't. And, you know, I'm a bad person. And they can beat themselves up, unlike any other circuitry that's in the human design system. So it's about flipping that around and going, well, look, let me be of service. Let me help someone. Let me bring my logic and my clarity to the situation and see if we can solve whatever the problem may be. The thing to watch about the logical circuit is what comes out of the 15th gate, setting the laws in stone, what is right and what is wrong. It's there to establish a measurement field, but it can establish a bureaucracy that gets more and more detailed and more restrictive. So we also need the other circuits in order to make sure that that doesn't happen, especially the experiential circuit. If there are too many rules and regulations and it's getting in the way of the experience or the way of us expanding and progressing in what we're doing, then it needs to be cut down. You don't want too much bureaucracy, but you do need the pathways that logic can predict and bring about by running the experiments. That can be helpful at any level, in the family level, the work level, the society level, the conservation level. the health level. There are so many different things that logic brings to us. So we need you. You know, you're never useless. Okay, logical people, we need you. We need you to share what you know about how to improve our lives. And thank you for your service. For those of you who are new to human design and you'd like to know more about your chart, you'll find in the descriptions below a link to a free report that gives you 50 pages on whatever your design is. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back again very soon with something completely different. Bye for now.